Eddie the Eagle Edwards. We are talking about Eddie the Eagle today. He soars like an eagle. And we're going to kick it all off. How you doing, by the way? With a quote here from Frank King, the president of the Olympic Organising Committee in 1988. "You have broken world records and you have established personal bests. Some of you have even soared like an eagle. Are you feeling inspired?"
I'm feeling really inspired.
Inspired.
Well, today we are talking about Eddie the Eagle, who was born in Cheltenham in Gloucestershire, or Gloucestershire if you are American. I remember that from a couple of weeks ago. I remember it from a couple of weeks ago. He was actually born Michael Edwards as opposed to Edward Edwards, because Edward Edwards would be a bit of a stupid name, really, if we're being perfectly honest with you.
But Eddie Edwards, that's great.
Yeah, so he was named Eddie by his school friends at school because of his last name being Edwards. So it was Eddie. And I don't know I don't think he's legally changed his name to Edward Edwards yet. It's just the name he goes by.
It's just a
It's
matter
a
of
matter
time.
of time. Snap net.
He learnt to ski in the Gloucester, or Gloucester if you're not American, a ski and snowboard centre. Interestingly, in Gloucester, he originally tried to do downhill skiing, but he found out that he wasn't good enough, essentially, to go into the Olympics for downhill skiing. So he looked around, and he looked at one mountain, and there was people doing ski jumping, and he realised that there aren't any people who are in the British Olympic ski jumping team. So he thought to himself, I know what I can do. I'm going to join the ski jumping team because there's no one else in it, and that means I can guarantee that I'm going to get in.
No competition.
Found a niche.
And that's how he managed to get into the Olympics, essentially.
That's brilliant. I just need to say, look at that cute little face.
I know, look at him.
Look at that cute little face. Those glasses, I love them.
Those glasses are incredibly thick, and he's had laser eye surgery now. And so he obviously doesn't wear those glasses.
Oh,
and you
that's a
see him now,
shame.
and he looks, he's still obviously the same person, but he looks, he doesn't look quite as goofy because he doesn't have the glasses, essentially. They do a big part in making him look a little bit silly. He's known, obviously, for being not very good at ski jumping. But why was he not very good at ski jumping? There are three major reasons for this. There's weight, because he was about 10 to 15 kilos heavier than all the other competitors. And the heavier you are when you ski jump, the faster you fall, which means you don't jump as far.
Don't get as much air.
Yeah, you think maybe it might like counterbalance because you go down the hill faster, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, but it doesn't work like that. Apparently, it's the heavier you are, the worse you are at ski jumping. The other thing was eyesight. So he obviously wore these amazingly thick glasses. One of the problems that he had was he would put his ski goggles on, and then his glasses would instantly fog up.
Oh.
So if anyone who's ever been ever worn a mask in the last 9 months with glasses on, then you'll know what it's like to have fogged up glasses. And the moment he put his mask on, it meant his glasses fogged up. So that meant when he dropped off the hill, he would frequently not be able to see a thing. Yeah, so he would jump from do a 70-meter jump and not be able to see anything.
That's terrifying. That's so frightening.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible. Apparently, most of the time, the act of actually going down the hill made it so that he the glasses defogged. But about 1 in every 5 times, it just didn't do it, and he was just jumping blind. He would just jump off the edge blind. The other thing that made him bad at ski jumping, unfortunately, was money. He came from a working class family. His dad was a plasterer. And in order to do things like qualify for the Olympics, you need money behind you.
Especially for skiing?
Yeah, especially for skiing. And you're not going to get that money unless you're incredibly talented or incredibly rich. And consequently, he didn't have an awful lot of money and had to sort of dedicate quite a lot of his time to getting money in order to then go to the Olympics. So he qualified for the Olympics. How did he qualify for the Olympics? He didn't have very much money. as I said. So he borrowed his mum's car to travel around Europe. He took part-time jobs, babysitting, doing a bit of plastering like his dad, cleaning hotels, doing all sorts of odd jobs. And that enabled him to scrimp and save so he could travel around Europe and go to all of the ski jumping competitions, like all of the World Series and stuff. One time, in fact, he was so poor that one time he broke his jaw falling off one of the hills, as happens when you ski jump. And he couldn't afford to go to the hospital.
Oh, fucking hell.
So he had a broken jaw, and rather than go to hospital, what he did was he taped a pillow around his face and just carried on jumping.
No!
Yeah. Like, an incredible fortitude there.
I didn't know anything. I'd only known the name. I didn't know anything about this guy before. I love him.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. He was informed of his qualification whilst he was staying at a mental hospital in Finland, because apparently then you could just rent a room in a hospital.
Just like hotel.
And you could spend the night. It was a cheap way of getting a hotel room. And eventually, he was ranked 55 in the world in 1987. Now, 55th sounds quite good, right?
Does
and
me.
apparently, it sounds pretty good. In the World Championships, they generally had about 100 to 150 people competing. So it's like average, but
Beat
still
some
better
people.
than any. Yeah, like it's still better than anything anyone else would do. However, because he was the only British ski jumper, the only person in Britain who was doing any form of ski jumping, that meant he was instantly qualified for being for going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So he was just by virtue of being the only person and being British number one, he managed to go to the Olympics.
This is really inspiring me to find like the most obscure sport that is an Olympic sport that I can do. I'm like, I can do it.
Yeah, I don't want you to go skiing though, Nat.
Not skiing. I'm not going to go skiing. I don't want to break my jaw.
Yeah.
So he's at the Olympics. How did he do? What did he? How was his Olympic glory? Well, he finished last in both the 70 meters and the 90 meters.
Look how happy he is.
Not
though.
bad.
But look how happy he is as well.
Not a bad result. Still in the Olympics.
Well, yeah, still in the Olympics. So he scored in the 70 meters. He scored 69.2 points. Now you think when you think of ski jumping, you think, well, surely the scoring is based entirely on distance, right? So actually, the way that they score the Olympic ski jumping or any ski jumping is by tallying up points from distance, technique, landing,
Like diving or something.
Yeah, a bit like diving, because they also take into account headwind. So you get points taken off and on for headwind. Because if you've got 50 competitors and they're doing it over the course of 2 or 3 days...
They can't control for it.
Yeah. And like headwind can cause an enormous discrepancy in the types of jumps. So he did not great. He came last. Second to last got double his points in the 70 meters. So second to last got 140 points, which is impressive.
Oh my goodness.
But he was loved. He was absolutely loved. When he finished his first jump, he got off his skis and starts dancing to the crowd and like really playing the crowd. And it made him a bit of a sensation. He was described around the world as a ski dropper because he was, not that good at it. And he's actually the first person to be specifically named in an Olympic speech.
Whose speech?
So the speech that the little excerpt that I gave at the start of this presentation is the first, and I think it may be the only time that an Olympian has been specifically referenced in an Olympic closing or opening ceremony.
Ah.
Yeah, it's kind of cute, isn't it?
It's like Eric the Snail. Do you remember
Eric the Eel.
Snail?
You're thinking of Eric the Eel. Eric the Eel is a bit like he was I don't know where he's from, but he was an Olympic swimmer.
Right.
And the first time, so when he arrived at the Olympics to do his swimming. That was the first time in his life he had ever seen an Olympic-sized swimming pool. It was when he was swimming in the Olympics.
Wow.
And I think he got through to the final or something, because in his heat and in his semi-final, he got through because of disqualifications.
Right, there were like false starts. They started just a
Yeah.
little bit too early, and so that's why he
Got through.
I think we should pivot and rebrand as an eel-based YouTube channel. I think there's content there.
we can really exhaust it.
Yeah.
So this was his Olympics. What did he do after the Olympics? Here are some things he did after the Olympics. He was obviously well in demand for all sorts of public appearances. He went on TV shows, he opened up supermarkets, he advertised cars, he did all sorts of public appearances, and he even got up to like £10,000 an appearance. And this is back in like the late 80s. This is 89.
Wow. But also,
Not
like,
bad.
I would go see him chat. Like,
Yeah. He seems like a quite decent guy, actually. He, according to his website, he now does some ski instructing, so you can just go and have Eddie the Eagle as your ski instructor.
can you imagine?
Well, I think he's probably a really good ski
I'm
instructor.
sure.
Really.
I mean, even if just because he's not like, normal Olympic level doesn't mean he's not actually like great at skiing.
Exactly right. He's been skiing for 40 fucking years.
Yeah.
He's gonna be halfway decent. In fact, he was at one point the 9th best amateur speed skier in the world.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, that's awesome.
He wasn't able to continue ski jumping in the Olympics because basically they implemented an Eddie the Eagle rule after the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics, specifically to stop Eddie the Eagle type people joining.
That's so
'cause
shit.
Obviously people had seen that this was a thing that had like happened, and they were, I'm gonna find another thing. I'm gonna find this other thing. That, yeah.
I'm gonna be a one-man curling team in a country that's never
Exactly
curled
right.
before.
So did
Exactly right.
they impose like a minimum kind of standard for people to
Yeah.
qualify?
So you've got to be, I think it's like top 40 or something in the world in order to go to the Olympics.
I think
Boring.
that sucks because the entire like cool thing about Eddie's presence in there is showing like kind of what the farce of it is like, and it is a farce, so you can't just
It
like
is.
pretend that it's not, that it's so much
it's-
of this doesn't come down to like money and the like sport culture in whatever country, like,
Yeah, capital C civilization.
Yeah. It's not about the winning, it's the taking part.
yeah, it's exciting. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah. He was one of the judges / coaches on Channel 4's The Jump, which was like a celebrities do ski jumping competition thing, which they had to cancel after like 3 series because they
People got injured?
hospitalized. They got too many celebrities broke their bones. So they basically had to cancel that.
Who? Do you know who got hurt?
Oh no, like fucking no one's.
Okay.
Like some
D-list.
soap opera actor, and like there were, I think, a couple of Olympians did do it. Like I think I saw a video last night of, I think it was Lewis Smith, the gymnast. I think I saw him do it. And obviously they're amateurs and they'd only been doing it for like 2 weeks before they do their first jump, and so it's a little bit rubbish compared to like you watch the Olympics and it's like, oh, this is really exciting. He also got a degree in law, and this was essentially to spite people. When he earned all of his money from all of his public appearances, and he put all his money into a trust fund to sort of tide himself over for the rest of his life. And that trust fund got mismanaged, and like the people who were managing it like skimmed off money and all sorts of some terrible things. And so consequently he got a degree in law specifically to help fight his case
Oh wow.
and get like sue his trust fund people.
Determined man.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Exactly right. So that's what he did after the Olympics. What I want to ask you to, and also the comments down below, Would you ski jump?
No.
I'm not
No.
gonna say never, but both Rachel and my friend have like quite badly hurt themselves skiing, and
Yeah.
no.
I really enjoyed and was also really terrified by my skiing experience. And as a protective sister, I never want Nat to ski ever.
Well, that is the correct answer. You don't want to ski jump because it's utterly, utterly dangerous.
I don't want to break my jaw. I don't want
Eddie the Eagle didn't get it easy.
No, Eddie the Eagle did not get it easy.